All right. Good evening, everybody. I don't think we're on day 22 anymore. Let's pretend it's day 23. I don't think that's right. Um, what are we going to call this stream? You get to watch me do this on camera. Um, let's do this. Yeah, cataloging. Okay. So yeah, I think that the main thing I'm trying to do now, if you watched the previous stream, you saw that we got a lot of good insights. We have been going through all of these different games and formalisms and things. We definitely found this good addition, which is like we should be knowing what all the mechanics are of all of these puzzles, as well as all of the underlying mathematical formalisms. Because two games can have really similar mechanics, like drawing lines between islands, and have really different underlying mathematical formalisms. But I think the time's probably come to like bring this to a close. I've taken all of its suggestions. um, I have and I think now that we're here, um, ah, probably not a non-functional terminal. Let's try. The enter key worked, but nothing else worked. So maybe it's time to start a new terminal. And let's see. Where are we at? What are we looking at? Oh, the conversation was compacted, it says. Lots and lots of memories. Okay. Let's see. This is kind of a weird kind of deal. There's no handoff skill anymore in Gas City, I guess. I think we were working on different vocabulary addition beads. We're about halfway through those. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to sell it is, hey, we've been doing a great job on these. I think you've gotten the picture. Although, I wish we had those 200K tokens of context. um, let's see if it can reorient itself or not. Um, game tree deduction. Interesting. Tell you what, I think I have agreed with all 21 we have done so far. Why don't you carry out the additions with your takes, and we can move on to promoting the remaining staged entries to the catalog. Agreed. It's gonna spell that correctly. I think sort of what is going through my head about this right now is that we've been doing fine with this. We've got the new additions to the formula. We've got the backfill that we're going to do, and then we should have a fairly good working catalog with hundreds of puzzles inside of it. Next, let's try to actually invent something more, and then yeah. And actually go on and make the product, because I think that's you know, we've been sort of what's the word I want to use here? We've been making the thing to make the thing, and now it's time to just dial that back a little bit and actually make the thing. I think like one of my big complaints about this sort of software for a long time has been, when are you going to go and make the thing? Uh, and so, yeah, I'm very much in sympathy for that. Now, it compacted the conversation, but I don't think it reread its prompt or anything like that. At least it's not obvious to me that it did that. So it's not obvious to me that I'm speaking to the mayor right now um, in a certain way. Uh, and it has been a lot of fun to look through all of these puzzles. In addition, I should mention we were okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Fine with me. Um, we were going through the instructions for the Puzzle Grand Prix, World Puzzle Grand Prix, and I actually competed in round 5 today. It was a lot of fun. I had 90 minutes. It was very, very tough. I've got the puzzles right here. I think I ended up doing about um, a quarter of them. And where they had multiple versions of a puzzle, often I did the easy one, just because there's like not a lot of time. Yeah, we did some of their like sort of toy problems, and we were able to do those pretty easily. But I've got to spend a lot more time with these to figure out what I did wrong. And when the round is over, I'll be happy to like publish my video of these and then do them on stream, that kind of thing. Uh, but yeah, that'll be fun. Um, I had a really good time. I definitely recommend. There's still a couple of days to get in on the current round. So if you want to see how to do it, um, I'll put this comment, pin it again. The instruction booklets here for World Puzzle Grand Prix. Yeah, had a really good time with it. There's some that I skipped too. Those like takoyaki. I didn't even try to do those. I couldn't figure them out. Went on stream, and that was with the toy one, and the actual hard ones were like a lot bigger. I wonder how people practice for this. Honestly, it's like you'd almost need to write a practice creator for each one of these puzzles with their different rules and things. Um, that said, that seems like the kind of thing that we might be able to do with our software. Is we don't have to vet out the designs per se. We know that they work. The rule sets work. Instead, we'd be challenged to write an appropriate generator and then you know, make me solve those kinds of things. Make the interactive puzzle game out of that. And then we could write sort of like uh, in the speedrunning community, sometimes called a practice hack, right? Um, a version of a game that allows you to retry certain parts or go to a certain part of the game. All right. So they're going to QC all of our catalog. And at the end of this process, we're going to have, I would guess, around 300 entries in the catalog. And we did have more potential sources in the catalog. I think that is like right here. Um, so yeah, I looked at Conceptus. Um, it like it says, it's mass market, which is definitely like a thing to aim for. Um, we haven't looked at GM puzzles at all. That might be a good next place to go. And then we did go to Yanko right here, probably the largest type taxonomy on the web. And so we found a lot of really good stuff there. Um, we haven't looked at Naoki Inaba's puzzles. Uh, but yeah, we might be able to find more here. I think the other two that we'd be kind of most interested in would be like what's hot in the app stores. But this is more of a like maybe marketing function. The comparative market analysis, what sort of mechanics should we aim for? It's sort of input to the inventor if you want, but we don't really need it. Like if we're going to try and do something really out of left field, then I don't think that we're just going to find out that there's a lot of mass market Sudoku and stuff like that. We might not. We might find that there's some other kinds of puzzles that are dominating. And particularly, like when you say puzzle game, that's a pretty broad swath, and it might include stuff from Tetris all the way to like point and click adventures. Uh, what's that one called? Monument Valley, for instance, obviously has almost nothing to do with 2D logic grid puzzles. Fez has nothing to do with it, but we consider those like puzzle platformers or adventure games or something like that. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think that between Nikori and Yanko, um, we're working on two of the biggest ones, and it wouldn't hurt to have this thing running in the background at any point. Like if you're just like, can you just go and look for stuff in your downtime whenever you're not doing something more important? That'll be a way to, keep the fires roaring all night long. But I think a lot hinges on whether we were able to make this process work, and I sort of think that we were. You um, one sort of test of our cataloging is whether we're able to round trip from a description that we put in the catalog, like this one, and then can we actually design that game, and will it come out the other side with the same look and feel or not? And maybe not. Maybe we need to have some more visual cues or some more multimodal, maybe images, examples inside of the catalog. Um, yeah. Certainly, like if we went back to this source, we might be able to pull like the rule example images. Oops. Yeah, I really do wish my scroll wheel wasn't sending arrow keys, right? Um, maybe that's a preference I can set in the terminal. I didn't think about this too hard. Um, I could always go get a better terminal too. Probably. This is just the stock terminal that comes in Ubuntu. Ubuntu? It does seem busy though. Why don't we look at one of the other catalog sources that we haven't messed with yet? World Puzzle Federation. Um, certainly like a lot of interesting puzzle variants in here, but they have sort of 100 or so evergreen puzzles, is what they said. Um, let's take a look at GM puzzles. I don't think we've seen that one yet. So we've looked at Nicodi, we've looked at Conceptus, Yanko, World Puzzle Federation. We kind of skipped this one, gmpuzzles.com. Hmm. Yeah, we were using these to evaluate all of the dictionary entries. Grandmaster puzzles. Lots of logic puzzles following the Sudoku boom of 2005. Quantity, not quality. This is kind of fun. These are actually shaped like US states. And presumably there are rules about, it looks like they have to get one of each letter into each region. They're all 9 cells big. And it's a Sudoku too. I see. It's a region Sudoku. This is a Ken Ken. An apparent work of art doubles as a puzzle. Yeah. A free sampling of each work is available, but they only skim the surface. Yeah. So again, we're not like looking to rip anybody off. We're looking to catalog what's there, respect what came before, and then do something new. The Puzzle Master's Workshop. So we've got 50 to 60 puzzles. Um, explore a new or less common idea and require you to come up with different solvers. Here's a sampler, originally published in 2019. Hopefully, they appreciate the free advertising here. No desire to copy. Inverse LITS. So that there are unshaded cells. All of the shaded cells have to be together. When two unshaded tetrominoes share an edge, like this one and this one. So this is an I, an L, and an S that are all sharing edges right around here. No 2x2s. Yeah, okay. That's cool. Ghost trend. Locate some train cars having size 1x2 or 1x3. Each number should be part of the car. Oh, and it's sort of There is a physical puzzle that looks a bit like this. It's the kind where you slide cars up and down, um, and you're trying to take them off the grid, right? So one of these would be like an exit, and then you would, try to legally move the cars, slide the cars around the grid until they can leave. I forget what the name of that one is. Traffic jam, or I feel like it's made by Familiar Maker. A bit like this, yeah. Traffic jam puzzles. But there's a physical one. All right, Rush Hour. That's what it's called. Um, yeah. So you can see kind of the similarity. And this is like, you've got these plastic pieces, you're moving in and out, and maybe you're trying to get the red car out or something like that. And so this puzzle shares some similarities with it, right? It's like, you know, if this represents a car that's blocked in, um, you know, what's making it blocked in? That kind of thing. And so there are cars that aren't numbered that they've had to use in their solution. But all of this is implied by this. Pretty cool. Triplets. Ah, okay. This is cool. Never heard of this puzzle. It has to do with putting sets inside of cells too. Um, and it says that when two cells meet, they have two of their digits, um, either ones, tens, or hundreds, are exactly the same. So here we'd have to get so 1, 2, 1 might be an example. Is that the only one that works? uh, I guess 2, 2, 2 would also work. Um, but it's already been used and you can't repeat. So that kind of thing. Spiral Galaxies is sort of familiar from Simon Tatham. Um, so this is a variation on Spiral Galaxies, I guess. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I find galaxies super hard. If it doesn't have a trivial solution, then there's probably a way to puzzle your way through it logically, but I don't really know what that is. See, we get to about here, and we can see things like, oh, well, it could be coming from this cell or from this cell. You can see that each one of these forms the center of a galaxy that has rotation symmetry on its borders. And so that means that if this cell is here, then we need to have this cell in the region in exactly the same way. We don't have enough information to make that inference yet. Could be taken by this one instead. And if you start looking at some of the more central squares that might be occupied by more than one galaxy, it quickly gets kind of out of control. Like, oh, well, there could be a lot of different configurations potentially that could own this particular square. And you kind of got to work your way through all of the possibilities. So, for instance, you can see this one cannot own this square of interest right here. This one definitely can. You know, physically, there's no problem with it. This one this one can't because it butts into this other one. And this one can't. This one also can't. So I think that's everything. All the closest ones can't. The only one that could do it is this one. We can sort of look carefully at this arrow. We can see in its mirror image, it's blocked in on the left. And on this side, the mirror image is blocked in on these sides. We don't know yet if the arrow is going to go up like this or cut off. And so you can kind of go through the whole puzzle this way. Um, we can tell, for instance, that like you can't have the same region on two sides of a wall. So this one and this one are definitely not together. But we're not sure if it's owned by this one, not this one, not this one, this one. Okay, it turns out that like this is really the only one that can do the job. And so you kind of go on like this. Um, so their mirror universe is circles are rotation symmetric, but lines are reflection symmetric. That's interesting. See this one right here. How it has a horizontal line, and the bottom half and the top half are mirror images. And this has a diagonal line, and those ones would like fold on top of each other. That's a lot of fun. Wow, this is really cool. I mean, how fun, super cool. Um, inspired by Nurikabe and LITS paths. The creator of turf, surf. Each black region must be specified by a shape graph, so it has to be taken from this list. And in this example, it had to be only S's. Wild. Um, it's I don't know why it's explaining that the extension is okay. Maybe it has to do with the turnings have to be the same. Yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, um, so look what happened here. Um, we had this sampler, right? The actual puzzle is 8 to 10 puzzles in each of 6 sections. Um, $5, you know. And I think that there's for me that means again it's sort of a validation that there's a market for this kind of product, um, and especially that there's a market for some really difficult stuff in here and new things. Um, so new puzzle variations that haven't existed before. Uh, um, I don't know why it's deleting molecules. What's it doing? Is it getting rid of formulas and turning them into... Oh, it's having trouble with the fact that the formulas were moved into incremental. No. Um, hold on a second. Let's let's try to do a GC handoff. Yeah, pain is dead for sure. Okay. So we want the may. Let's see here. I don't think this is going to do anything. We're going to be right back there with our sort of compacted mayor. Okay. If we have a new, we're going to be upgrading carefully because we had such huge problems when we upgraded our beads version the other night. Alrighty. All right, let's poke around a little bit more. I think one problem with trying to get designs out of this is that they're not laid out encyclopedia style, right? Which makes sense, right? Um, you know, this is more of like a commercial site and less of a right. This is the Discord. Um, I guess this is not a not inconsiderable list of puzzles. Uh, yeah, there's some variants and yeah. The founder is the principal puzzle master at LinkedIn. I played Queens. That's cool. Um, very fun. Yeah, I mean, I like this stuff. We've got lots of different. There are lots of different posts and variations here. I don't know if that means. Ah, yeah. I guess these are just rules. Numbers must be strictly increasing from the round bulb to the flat end. That was in one of the. I did skyscrapers with thermometers today in the Puzzle Grand Prix. So this is interesting. We might be able to get some new variants out of these lists. Let's make a new folder. By Philip Newman. Just for fun while we wait. Yeah. When it started talking about relinking the formulas, to me that meant that like something went wrong with the refactoring of the rig out of the city. If the city's supposed to have the rig formulas, then it should get them in the appropriate way, not by like hacking symbolic links into Gas City. All right. So my assumption is this is for public consumption. Here we've got, again, a little bit easier with paper. This would be 3 or 4. It has to be a 4. This can be 6 or 8. This can be 7, 8, or 9. Definitely think my stuff is chunking a little bit here. Chugging. Things higher than 4. 5, 6, 7. 6 or 9. Yep, I've had occasion to learn how slow I am at puzzles. Like when I went and looked at the leaderboard for World Puzzle Grand Prix, I think they're solving like all of the puzzles, which it sounds crazy when you look at the puzzles that are given. You know, I did 90 minutes and I did approximately 8. If people are actually, finishing 30 puzzles and then hitting the submit button early for bonus points, like it's pretty wild. This is a thermometer that's 6 long. 3 could be up to 4, I guess. Yeah, it can't be 4 because that would lock us into the strict sequence 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that would put a 7 here in this 7 row, which doesn't work. We got to dial it back to at least 3. Seven, 8, 8, 9. All right. So hopefully it took care of that. And we're getting a fresh mayor. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have to be down here. This would have to be a 2 or a 5. It can't be a 2. 5 is all that's left. We've got a couple of 2. Can't put 2 here. 2's got to be here. It won't fit on any of the other thermometers. And then we've got 6, 7, and an 8 to place. 6 can't go in here. That means we've got a 7 or an 8. An 8, 9. So with 9 numbers and 6 in the thermometer, you can fit 4 on each one. A range from 1 to 4 here, up to 6 to 9 here, but the 6 is occupied, so 7, 8, 9. And the reason we need so many numbers right is that we have to start pretty high if we're going to go down 5 times. So interesting thing happened on this row. We've got an 8, 9 here, 7, 8 here, and a 7, 8, 9. That means the remaining numbers in this row are all of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's got to be a 2, 3, and 4 right here. Um, 1 through 4 here. 1, 3, 4 right here. All right. Still attaching. I assume that this process of resetting the city, it's it's bit me in the past. It takes a while. Can take a while. 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7. But no 7. 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is interesting because we can't do the 3. So this is a 4. So this actually can't be a 4 right here. Did I do that wrong? Yes. No, that's right. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That looks right so far. Notice what we're missing from these numbers. We also could do this 4. It's in the same territory. We have actually got 5 and 6 twice. 7 got to be used. These have to ascend. 5, 6, 9. This has to be a 3 then. And then we've got a 1 and a 2. This is also going to be a 1 or a 2 down here. All right. So we're well on our way. Okay. It's the mayor. We're in Gas County Tutor. Let's see here. This isn't normally what I see when we wake up the mayor, right? We see its prompt at the top. It goes through and starts thinking about what work it has ready to work on. And then potentially it asks me what to do. I'm mildly concerned that recent changes around agents are causing it to not be proactive anymore. Ah, there is a new release. A new Gas City release as of a couple days ago. It didn't actually get mail, it doesn't look like. Yes, City version 1.2.0 requires a final adult 2.1.0. So I guess I do need to look at the okay. Hopefully this is not going to cause any issues. Mm. Ah, whoops. Yeah, that looks good. Um, I think it's good um, to commit whenever changes are getting made. And uh, git the git repository is being used more like a backup right now. But we're trying to evolve to factor it into the city into reusable packs eventually. Mm-hmm. And we can work on the catalog and kick off the catalog QC. All right. I do think that it's got to be I think, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't have to keep learning about I I forget. We might have to teach the mayor over and over again about using departments, using the concierge, and routing work appropriately. But it seemed to know that it was supposed to route that work to the antiquarian. Cool. While we're thinking about this, yeah, there are new features in 1.2. Session resume and nudge reliability might be good. Manage dolt recovery might be really good if we need that. Hack v2 authoring. It seems like there are certain. Read the release notes too while we're at it. It's not all puzzles and games, right? Okay. I was reading these things out loud for you. But yeah, the things that seem like they're important to our interests make it more make the Pack v2 city model more scriptable, inspectable, and recoverable. Commands have gained API or structured schemas. Good. Move away from role assumptions toward explicit work formula and session contracts. Interesting. Use GC Doctor for safe mechanical repairs. We are running on Linux. I guess we're supposed to rerun GC Supervisor install. We'll have to stop the supervisor before we reinstall. Run GC Doctor. We can ask the mayor to run through all of these. We can get JSON out of the GC mail commands and trace and converge. Sling, interesting. And it's all documented. It's expanding on all the stuff in the summary. So there are a lot of little details. Resumed sessions replace startup prompts when needed. Yeah, I think that might have helped us a little bit earlier. So instead of having to bounce our city, we could. Oh, yeah. Um, that's fine. Let's try and figure out the problem. Ugh. Hopefully this mayor will be slightly smarter and actually figure out the problem. So we rolled back to 1.0.2. Do we have a better one? Oop. There's a 1.0.5 tag. Hmm. Hmm. I guess this is the price of playing with the alpha software. Okay. I don't know why it's not there. Why it's not taking me to this project right here. Hmm. It's interesting. I guess they pulled the 1.0.5. Hmm. I keep pressing Control Tab to try and use the LRU navigation on Firefox. I guess I don't have that installed right now. Uh-huh. Hopefully that is all that it needs to figure this out. I like how it called it an instinct. It's like, I know you're making this up. Let's see. I really do need to figure out draw on tablet. Draw using tablet on screen. That would make my brain happy. Yeah. Oh, I just saw your chat. Thank you. Yeah, I think what I was expecting, right? Like if you look at the release notes, back to the Gas City release notes. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention, I guess, along that line, is that recently Claude was making some changes to do Gas City like things, um, and that's like agents. So um, Claude release agents, managed agents, and anytime that here we are. So this isn't too long ago, I don't think. More managed agents. Maybe they're just continue adding on to this thing, but we're sort of sharecropping in the world of all of these AI providers. And in this one in particular, right, Gas City is intended to use their sessions directly, and not to sort of trample on any of those other presentations that they want us to have, right? Like that's the product they're selling to us. But there's sort of like a vendor lock-in kind of thing going on here too, right? Like, so I pay for Claude, right? And mostly what I want is raw cognition, right? Like this. But really, what I'm interested in is not all of the different enterprise features and things that sort of eat up the orchestration and stuff that I'm getting from Gas City in a vendor neutral kind of way, right? Like Gas City abstracts all of the sessions of many different agentic providers so that I'm not locked in, right? Like if for some reason Claude goes down, I should be able to get out my checkbook and pay Gemini or pay OpenAI or whoever I want and resume and have that cognition poured into the prompts and formulas and business processes that I'm setting up for my Gas City. And so products like this, where it's like, whoa, why don't you get addicted to managed agents? Oh, they don't exist in some other provider. I guess you're stuck with us, you know. Yeah, so I don't welcome this, right? I don't try to use features like this. Instead, I sort of back away and I go, well, I'm trying to use the thing that's getting commoditized, not the thing that sort of forces me into your mold and makes me subscribe to features I can't get anywhere else. So that I was sort of alluding to that when we had a mayor session kind of crash, and when I brought it up in this video, starting this video, it was compacted, right? The conversation was compacted. And so it was like, on the surface, right, if you're just talking to an agent and the discussion gets compacted, it should be saving all of the insights and all of the stuff you've been talking about, and you can kind of resume from that conversation. But I'm not totally convinced that it was kind of obeying the constraints that I put on my mayor agent inside of my gas city. It needs to reread its prompts and things. So I was really interested in this thing in the release notes, right? That was about reapplying session live hooks, so that resume sessions get all of the rig context, setup variables, my startup prompts, all the stuff that I've been asking my mayor, hey, improve yourself, learn your own features, um, use some of the stuff around routing and departments, right? So, yeah, hopefully that's not too long winded. Yeah, I'm definitely bugged by the idea that, um, you know, I don't want my city to be recolonized by Anthropic, right? I want it to work the way that I want it to work. I want it to pursue my ideas. So, okay, there is a clean restore point. And we're kind of running into we ran into this twice. The other night, this happened, I guess, because we were looking at the beads under the city schema, and now we're looking at beads under the rig schema, under the rig table or the rig specific tasks or something like that. Um, and it sounds like it would have migrated both of these tables, and then we kind of gotta roll back. Fortunately, we sort of solved this problem, and the last thing I did before we resumed was say, hey, please write down the lessons learned from this. So it did happen again, and it is fixing it again, I guess. It did have trouble trying to figure out which issues were affected last time. So I don't think that it knew that it was going to have to be doing the same investigation over and over again. But yeah, there's also a lot of moving parts, right? I've got beads, I've got Dolt, I've got Gas City, I've got Quad Code. You know, there's all this soup of like how are they interacting with each other and what do they assume about each other or not. Um, and certainly, I don't envy the person who has to sort of keep up with modeling a sort of abstract session over the top of Claude or other provider products that are constantly evolving and being changed for good reason for the people that want those changes and are looking for those new products and are buying what they're selling essentially, right? If I want something very simple out of it, then I don't want that to change. I want its API to stay exactly the same. It sort of looks like it's going through them 10 at a time, but might as well keep looking at the release notes while we're waiting. Yeah, I don't know if this is something that I have been dealing with too much. Uh, Mostly because a lot of my work has been like directly with Mayor, or it's slinging to like a single session, and so I don't. Here, well, let's look at this for a second while we're waiting. I think these are all named sessions. Um, I don't know what these playtesters are doing right now. GC Oracle. Um, I haven't talked about this for a few days on the stream. Um, we have a few agents called oracles that are just supposed to answer questions about the knowledge base underneath them. And it is sort of a general feature that we want to put in across all of our city. Any agent that has some specialization, that manages some knowledge base or does some task, it's going to have notes and memories, and it's supposed to reflect on how it does on its tasks and update those and improve them. And one of the steps in the big refactor that we're trying to do is to, right now they're writing them down in notes file or something like that. And there are better systems for that. Like if you look at the Gas City packs, there are memory units and other things like that. And so each one of these would have memories and be able to reflect on those memories and improve them. And then an oracle, sort of like, tell me what you know about this. Um, if I ask you a question, tell me about what's in your knowledge base, or draw on your expertise to answer my question. And this one is like looking at the source code for Gas City. That said, it's probably slightly out of date. Like our fork is a little bit out of date. There's these little things that we do every day. We should probably just um, put into. There we go. We should probably just run them on a schedule, basically, to go sync our fork. It's already 3 days old. Super behind. Yeah, so we have these named sessions. Um, the Nikodi ingest, I think, is done. Um, I think we could probably get rid of that. We could get rid of these named sessions that have been drained. We don't need the playtester to work harder right now. It was kind of erroring out. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. We don't want to lose those 32 child proposals. That would suck. Okay. It would pull in the schema parity fix. Uh, sure. Let's try path A. I think that I'm okay with that. And we do have all of the decisions written down too. So what we're really preserving is the record of our work. Which is good. I mean, I watched an enlightening video today. I mean, I guess a video that really tells me you're on the right track. And it was all about how the new companies of the future need to build institutional knowledge. And the solution that they had in mind was something like, oh, just let everything look at everything. Have all of your AIs learn from your knowledge plane by having everything, every Slack's ever sent, every email, every document, every meeting is going to be recorded, and then out of that, some genius is going to read all of that, and then it's your institutional knowledge is going to precipitate out of that like a chemical. And I think this is a kind of weird way to think about it because um, there are always different ways to slice and dice knowledge. And I think that's sort of the insight that I'm trying to bring out as we go through this refactoring project is that if you have this thing that's been trained on all the knowledge on the internet, but that doesn't mean that it's focusing its efforts in the right area necessarily when you're talking to it. When you talk to it casually, it talks to you as a generalist. And when you make specialized questions, it starts to talk to you as a specialist. And when you start to invent a new kind of specialization for it that doesn't exist in the training data, perhaps, is a new gloss on a kind of expertise or a perspective to take on all the information that it has. Um, you can look at one fact from many different angles, and you can look at many collections of facts from many different angles too. And so when I say, I want you to use all that knowledge on the internet and build me a puzzle game factory, um, this it's not like that's been done a million times, right? It's probably been done a few times. But if you look at our sources, right, our sources list here, um, we've got 13, and if you told me this has been done 13 times, all of these people have built puzzle factories, that's still not a lot of data, right? It's not like it's just this easy thing to do, right? Or it's so obvious, all the patterns, you know, all of the different jobs that you would have put in such a process. And so I guess what I believe is that we're going to be able to apply all of this world knowledge into our business problem. It'll be a new business problem or relatively new. And that means we're going to have relatively new specialists, new perspectives, and we're going to start generating new knowledge, new glosses on the same old stuff, right? New languages, new jargons. We're going to start inventing new vocabulary terms. We're going to talk about things in a certain way. And as an industry software engineer, I'm somewhat familiar with this process, needing to come up with new words for things. Right, one of our two hardest problems, right? Off by one error is cache invalidation, naming things. Uh, but naming things is particularly hard because they could be named almost anything. You could take a lot of different perspectives on the data that you're making. And the way you name them says something about how you intend them to evolve or how they all hang together, how they make patterns. Right? And this is true anytime we use language. Like you can talk about language being contextual or about language being functional in a certain functional space. You're just going to use it differently to talk to the drive-through than you are to talk to your psychiatrist. You are to talk to your best friend about the meaning of life. Um, and you're just trying to get different things out of those conversations, or you're working with a background knowledge that's much different in all these different cases, different power dynamics. And so all the languages will be different. Even though you're all speaking English, um, the similarities kind of end there, is the way to put it. And that's what you hope to get to with all these different agents, right? An inventor of puzzles is just going to talk differently than a layer out of websites or a builder of mobile apps or a marketer. Yeah. And that's a good thing. That diversity is a really good thing. Um, it can be a diversity of role and function. Uh, it might be just a diversity of what I ask you to become an expert on, what your not functional domain, but your product domain is. I'm surprised that beads is taking so long to build, actually. But I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. Cool. Well, this is about the time when I was planning to turn into a pumpkin. So let's take a pause right there. Um, we will resume right from here, and hopefully our database will be less horked the next time I'm on. Planning to stream again tomorrow. I know the stream schedule's totally irregular and has nothing to do with reality, but that's just my life right now. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for being here. And yeah, catch it on YouTube if you want to see any more. Cheers.